Hey guys, I'm back with another video. So this one's a little bit different. This one is, I'm just going to talk about a few things that you want to look for when you go to buy an iMac G3. Some are more important than others. Kind of depends on how good of a computer you want. Okay. Pretty much, the first thing that you want to look for just in general with any iMac is whether or not the outside plastic piece, but the inside plastic piece is cracked anywhere. Because not only does it look kind of terrible, that's also what the CRT is pretty much being held up by. So, in extreme cases, if it cracks down here and cracks down here, the CRT is pretty much loose if you push on it. So that's not good. So what I would do in that case is, if it's a rare computer like this one, I'd buy it anyways, for the right price, obviously. If it's an Indigo or something like that, I'd probably pass it up because it's not worth the trouble of repairing it. There's a video on my channel how to repair it. That doesn't make it look good. That will just repair it so that it's more structurally sound. If you want to repair it very well, what you can do is take everything apart and get some Bondo. It's automotive body filler, and do it completely and sand it all, but just don't. It's such a big hassle, there's no point in doing that. Second thing you want to look for is, well, this is kind of a difficult thing. If you are buying the computer over the internet, like on eBay, and you're not going and looking at the computer, then this is a very hard thing to look at. But when you turn these on, if the CRT is going to die soon, there will sometimes be wavy lines, or the screen will flicker every so often when it's running, and pretty much that means the CRT is on the way out. I never buy a computer like that, unless it's like $10 or $15, and then I just strip it for parts, like motherboard, speakers, CD drive, hard drive, all that kind of stuff. So I wouldn't recommend buying one of those computers. It's just not worth it. Something else that I would highly recommend is not buying a 350 megahertz. They're so useless. They're so slow. They're just overall not very good. The only reason that would be worth buying a 350 megahertz is, let's say you have one of these with a smashed CRT support. This is what I would do. And I've done this, not with this flower power, but with a, what was it, a blueberry. Yeah, it was a blueberry. I really enjoyed the blueberry color, and I couldn't find any for sale. And when I finally did find one for sale, it had cracked CRT support, and it was just terrible. So what I did is took it apart. Oh, and the CRT was on the way out, too. So what I did is I bought a 350 megahertz Indigo and swapped the case pieces and swapped the motherboard and swapped the speakers, and there you go. So yeah, I wouldn't buy one. They're the worst one that you can get that's a slot loading. Tray loading, slower megahertz. I mean, I don't know how I feel about slot loading or tray loadings. I find that they're a little bit harder to work on, and just overall not as good as slot loadings. I like slot loadings more. But that's not saying much because I also really like tray loadings. But I mean, I only have slot loadings right now. I sold all my tray loadings because I just find these much easier to work on, and I work on them much more often. The other thing that you want to look for, if you can, is if the speakers are blown up. Because that's a really common thing. All you gotta do is adjust the volume, and you'll hear it. You'll hear a rattle. It'll go like when it adjusts. It's not a big deal. You can replace them. It's just whether or not you want to do it, and you can possibly haggle the price down. So now I'm just going to go over what computer I think is worth the most. Like which computer you should pay the most for, and then work kind of down the list. Not of all the colors, but just in general. So the Flower Power and the Blue Dalmatian. Those are obviously worth the most. They didn't make them for very long. They're not common at all. They're very hard to find. In my opinion, the Flower Power is harder to find than the Blue Dalmatian. I've seen multiple of these for sale near me. Well, not near me. Within an 8-hour drive from me. And, I mean, I didn't buy them because I already had one. So, you know, I've seen these around. I have never seen one of these for sale on eBay while I'm looking, or on Kijiji while I'm looking, which is what I used to buy these in Canada. They are so uncommon. I found this one up. It had been up for like 6 hours, and I immediately went and picked it up. And I paid them $100, I think, because they were selling a bunch of crap at a garage sale, and I was like, I'll come get it for $100, because I know that they didn't know what it was worth, and I knew that if they were like, oh, $100, that's pretty good, okay. So they accepted that, and I got it. So I would say that these are the most rare. Then what I'd say, and this is a more rare-ish one, because this is a 600 megahertz, and they made them in 600 and 500. This is a 500. It's not as good, and this one has a high runtime on the CRT, so it kind of flickers a bit, and I haven't turned it on in a long time, because I'm trying to save it. Yeah, so then what I'd say second best ones, other than these ones, are the Snow and Graphite 700 megahertz. They are the fastest iMac G3 that you can get. The only thing I don't like about them is that they have CD drives. So be prepared to buy a DVD drive and swap it in, because CD drives on these are not especially useful. DVD drives are very, very helpful. So then from there, I mean, there's 600 and 500 megahertz computers. Color-wise, for the most part, I think blueberries and indigos were bought, but I cannot find blueberries very easily anymore. They're very hard to find. I've kept my favorite colors, which is tangerine. Let's see, what do I got? I've got my original indigo that I bought. I think that's my, there's a video. First video on this channel is that indigo. Then I have a tangerine and a blueberry. And then these two. And then I also have, hidden back here, you can't really see, a tray loading lime that has no internals, and a graphite, which is I built a computer inside of the graphite shell. So yeah, I'm gonna say the most common, indigo. Don't buy an indigo if you've already got an indigo, because, and if you're not in a rush to buy one, I wouldn't even bother getting an indigo, unless it's like a 500 or something, like a 500 megahertz. If you find a boxed one, go for it. Just buy it immediately if it's not outrageous. For my boxed iMacs, I've never paid more than $100 for them, and I've never sold them for less than $400. So if you can find one that's in between $100 and $400, then you're set, because you'll be able to sell it. So either way, like I sold my Bondi Blue for $400, and it was up for not that long. If I had listed it for more, I probably could have got it. It's like my key lime. I had a key lime clamshell, which I never ever made a video on. But I sold that for $900 Canadian because it was in its box. You do not find those. That was the best opportunity I've ever found. There was one of these. So I'm in Ontario, and there's a key lime for sale in Alberta. I asked the guy if he'd ship it to me, if I e-transferred him, and he said sure. That's a complete gamble, because he did not want to do PayPal, so I was thinking, well, he's either going to ship it or he's not. But if he does, then that will be awesome. Sure enough, a couple days later, got a box at my front door. Boxed key lime. Started right up, and within a week from me getting it, I sold it for $900. I probably could have got over $1,000 for it. That was unbelievable. But yeah, so I hope that that's a useful video. If you have any questions about anything ever, just let me know. I respond very quickly to comments, because I understand that not everyone has a ton of knowledge on these computers, and I, for the most part, do. So yeah, just let me know. I know I haven't made a video in a while. And if you have any video suggestions, let me know. If you want to know how to do something with one of these, let me know. I can make a video on it. So yeah, I hope that was useful, and I hope everyone has a great evening. Yeah.